Call the meeting to order. Mr. Delaney is excused and Attorney Schill is also excused. Otherwise, everyone else is present in the chambers. Sounds good, 6:04. Next item is Pledge of Allegiance and silent prayer in lieu of invocation. Please stand. We are on to item 4, the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting held January 17th, 2023. See attachment 1. Anyone have any questions? We have a motion by Bemke, second by Benneman. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your ballots. That motion carried 7 ayes, 0 nays. We're on to item 5, consider for approval a special ordinance annexing city-owned territory, including right-of-way totaling 3.975 acres in size from the town of Grand Rapids, located at 2420 Saratoga Street, 2440 Saratoga Street, 2540 Saratoga Street, 2620 Saratoga Street, town parcel ID number 0700279, 0700279B, 0700279A, and 0700278, and to temporarily zone the parcels mixed-use commercial district B5, see attachment 2. What are your wishes or questions? Mr. Rayom.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just start with a question, I guess, and if it could just be explained, is part of this, is any left that be landlocked from the township? I saw that, I believe, in the minutes here, and the question was raised, and then I just...
There is one parcel still there, but I guess Kyle could probably explain it better, that there isn't really a landlocking or the thing of the past where you had to, is that correct, Kyle?
Yeah, so the way we're annexing this under 66.0223 doesn't follow the normal procedures for a unanimous annexation if it were done by a private entity. So there's a special annexation procedure for city-owned property. I still reached out to the state on this, the State Department of Administration, and inquired as to the umbilical cord that we're essentially severing when we annex. Previously, we're talking a decade or more ago, the state would not recommend approving islands or annexing property that would sever umbilical cords and so forth. However, the state has since changed their opinion on that, and they've identified that if umbilical cords already exist or there's some islands currently in the jurisdiction, as long as you're shrinking and improving upon those, they are favorable or recommending to annex in those situations. Again, this annexation did not require a recommendation from the state, but he did kind of provide that feedback and note that it probably would be one that would be recommended and favorable in their eyes. It would be, yes. He also recommended that we annex the street or half the street right-of-way as well. That was a question that was posed to him because it's essentially the street right-of-way that we're annexing along with it that severs the town parcel or the town jurisdiction.
Which parcel or whatever is actually going to be severed there in between? Where we're going to...
I've got to pull it up here to confirm.
Because you're right, I know the state recommended years ago that it was not to do that. But
Correct. So it looks like property address 2230 Baker Street, as well as a few other parcels along 20th. There's 2 homes along 20th that back up to Highway 54. There's some vacant parcels, and then there's the parcel on Baker Street. So essentially, there are about 10 parcels, 8 to 10 parcels, that would be severed with the annexation.
I don't know that if that would matter, but do those people, have they been made aware of that? I know it in the township, but have they been made aware of the severance that would be occurring?
Nothing will change.
They
for
have
them
not,
either.
because nothing would change under statute. They'd still be within the township.
Yeah, right.
So no notification has been given to those property owners. Nor is a notification required under statute via this proceeding.
We did have one of the parcels reach out to us and, suggest or offer that we purchase it. And I think that's something we'll have a future discussion on, but we don't need to. There's no requirement that we have to.
Okay. And I'm not debating that. I just wonder if that wouldn't be maybe the kosher, has the town been made aware? I mean,
I don't know if they
yeah,
were.
to me, it'd just be maybe the kosher way or whatever, be to let the people know what's taking place, but,
So I did have a conversation with the zoning administrator for the town of Grand Rapids, and I did advise her that, because she was asking about some things, because it's part of the dog park, and so she had some questions about, potential work going on there and what needed to do, and I advised her that we'd be pursuing to annex those parcels into the city, and so she's aware of that too.
If I may comment further, ideally, from a planning standpoint, it would be best to annex these in larger sums and do a municipal boundary agreement. There's statute whereby each municipality can enter into that agreement and identify areas where we would annex and/or areas where we would not pursue any further with the city boundary. Given that this request for the dog park is in front of us now, we did not have the time to sit down and do the municipal boundary agreement. But I think that's something moving forward, our planning office will pursue with the township to clean up not only this area, but other areas of the city where we have a lot of jagged boundaries.
I personally wouldn't support a municipal boundary agreement because I don't want us to landlock ourselves either. So if there's opportunity to grow and people want to annex or we own parcels, I personally wouldn't lift favor upon a boundary agreement. Anything further? So we have a motion by Evanson and a second by Zacher. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your ballots. That motion carried 7 ayes, 0 nays. We are on to item 6, which is a presentation by the Community Development Department on public art and creative placemaking plan. Carrie?
I wanted to introduce this item and provide a little context before Carrie provides a brief presentation. This project and this initiative was stemmed from the partnership with UW-Madison through the University Year program. Some of you may remember that partnership occurred in 2019 to about 2021, and there were several projects from assisting the engineering department with some floodplain stuff to the strategic plan here, or arts and culture in the community, as well as promotion and marketing of the downtown and regionally economic development attraction. And the University Year students conducted a survey and did an inventory of our arts, but also recommended that a strategic plan be created. So we took it to the next step Carrie led this project, and this is the outcome that was created. Prior to turning it over to Carrie, I do want to recall also that last year, you can recall that we fielded a request to do some public art within our roundabout on Jackson Street. Ultimately, that project didn't move forward, but I think something like this could be cited moving forward in the event that we do have interest from other entities or groups and organizations within the community that want to inject art in different public space or on private property. This can hopefully act as a guiding document to do that. With that, Carrie, I want to thank you again for leading the project and turn it over to you for a brief presentation.
Thanks, Kyle. So, as Kyle said, this is a public art and creative placemaking plan. And I'm just going to give a really brief presentation, so it won't be too long. But a definition, what is creative placemaking? So from the National Endowment for the Arts, they say that creative placemaking integrates arts, culture, and design activities into efforts that strengthen communities. There's lots of definitions. The APA, American Planning Association, has lots of definitions, but I think just universally it's just becoming more well recognized how beneficial public art is to communities and how it can foster economic development and just have a lot of unanticipated benefits in addition to the visible benefits that we all see. So as Kyle said, there was some really great groundwork that was laid probably far prior to this, but even from 2020 to 2021 with the University Alliance group out of UW-Madison. And they had several recommendations, and I'm not going to read through them all here, but what a lot of it hinged on is kind of developing overarching guidance in the form of a strategic plan or planning documents just to help guide us forward and move us forward. So that's what we started about a year ago, is moving a strategic plan forward. So we had a really great arts and cultural stakeholder group that was kind of pulled from different entities, mid-state, the Convention Visitors Bureau, the Cultural Center, lots of different organizations throughout the city. We had really good representation. So that group helped oversee the process, and then we also held a public workshop in the fall. And then as part of that, there was also an online survey. So we had pretty good advisement throughout. And I'm gonna just quick jump to the plan, and I won't go through the whole plan, but this is something on our website, on the community development site under creative placemaking. So I hope you can all get a chance to take a look at this. Justin Connor, the GIS coordinator, really helped get this set up. It's a digital document that is interactive and it can be easily shared through different means. So just a couple things I wanted to point out. One of the things that we were able to do with this is we have a digital public art inventory of all the public art in the city that people can view. And so this will be a nice thing that we can share with other organizations. And it's just a way to kind of get what's here out there and get people more aware of what exists now. And then another neat component is people could indicate their siting preferences, where they'd like to see public art in the city. And so we can have this in a map format that we can continue to expand as we get more feedback. And then we could kind of see this in the downtown context, in the context of our trail system, and different ways that public art can be viewable and beneficial. And then it wraps up with different ways to kind of grow the public arts culture in the city and some goals and opportunities around that. And I just want to say too, a lot of people helped out with the process. So moving forward, we would like the city in some form to support a group that could continue to meet somewhat frequently and carry out this work. This could be both informal RFP and informal opportunities. It could be permanent and temporary artwork, and then just continuing to foster the partnership opportunities that we know will help grow the public art space. And just the picture on this slide is, these are rat cards that we can share with like the Convention Visitors Bureau or different organizations in the city, and the QR code on it is a way for people to quickly access the plan if they're interested or they want to learn more. And so we think the digital format really worked well for this. So that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions? All right, thank you for letting me present.
Carrie, one moment, please.
I just have a question. Is that something that you could forward to us that we could take a peek through?
Yeah,
Okay,
yep,
thank
definitely.
you.
Yep.
Thank you, Carrie. We are on to item 7, which I will not read. That item was withdrawn from the Plan Commission agenda. So, and I missed it pulling it off the agenda when we put the council agenda together. So that item hopefully will come forward in the future, but it's not ready at this point. So we can move on to item 8, which is consider for adoption and the action of the Plan Commission meeting held on February 6th, 2023. Kyle?
Thank you, Mayor. The Plan Commission met at 4 p.m. on February 6th in the council chambers. Members present are on file in our office and the clerk's office, as well as others in attendance. The meeting, excuse me, the meeting was called to order at 4:02 p.m. Approval of the, item 1, approval of the report from January 9th, 2023. Motion by Austin to approve the report. A second by Feith. That motion carried 5-0. Ben Goudreau joined the meeting at this point. Item number 2 was a request by the Animal Medical and Surgical Clinic of Wisconsin Rapids to perform site improvements at 1210 River Run Drive. Staff provided a summary. There was a motion by Blazer to approve the request for site plan review at the address mentioned, subject to 9 conditions, which are on file and outlined in the staff report. There was a second by Austin. That motion carried 6-0. Item number 3 was a request from Cool Investment LLC, Tom Richards. It included a public hearing and action for a conditional use permit to establish retail sales of more than 40,000 square feet at 1100 East Riverview Expressway. Again, staff summarized the request. The public hearing opened at 4:23 p.m. Speaking in favor included Tom Richards and Bruce King. Speaking against, none. There was a motion made by Austin to approve the request, subject to 5 conditions outlined in the staff report. There was a second by Davin. That motion carried 6-0. Item number 4 was a request by Cool Investment LLC to perform site plan improvements at 1000 Riverview Expressway. There was a motion by Davin to approve the request, subject to 5 conditions outlined in the staff report. Second by Austin. That motion carried 6-0. Item number 5 was a request by Cool Investment LLC for a sign exception to install additional signage on an off-premise sign at 1335 8th Street South. Again, that request was summarized by staff. There was a motion by Feith to approve the request. Second by Tao, subject to 2 conditions outlined in the staff report. That motion carried 6-0. Item number 6 was a request by Cool Investment LLC for another sign exception at an off-site location at 1140 East Riverview Expressway. There was a motion by Davin to approve the request, subject to 3 conditions outlined in the staff report. A second by Austin. That motion carried 6-0. Excuse me. Item 7 was withdrawn, as was item 8. No action was taken on those items. Item 9 was a request by the City of Wisconsin Rapids to annex territory, including right-of-way totaling 3.975 acres from the town of Rome, located at 2420 Saratoga Street, 2440 Saratoga Street, 2540 Saratoga Street, and 2620 Saratoga Street. Town parcel IDs are identified. That included a temporary zoning to mixed-use commercial district, B5. There was a motion by Blazer to approve the request, second by Davin. That motion carried 6-0. Item 10 was adjournment. Motion by Tao to adjourn, second by Davin. That motion carried 6-0. The meeting adjourned at 5:09 p.m. Thank you.
What are your wishes? We do have a resolution in that's attached for the conditional use permit, which is in the Plan Commission report.
Motion to approve.
A motion by Austin. And seconded by Zacher. Any further questions? Seeing, Go ahead.
Hit the wrong button.
Go ahead.
Turn my mic on.
Oh.
Instead of asking to speak. Anyway, just on 5 and 6 again for information, Kyle, the off-premises sign, could you just explain that for me quick?
In terms of the request or any
Yeah.
council action?
The request for where it's actually going to be.
Yeah, so the first off-premise sign was on the corner of the Expressway and 8th Street. There's an existing non-conforming sign, and they had requested to add 2 additional panels. Typically, you can't add on to a non-conforming sign, and so they needed the exception to do that. That exception was granted, and again, sign exceptions only need Plan Commission approval. The second exception was for an off-premise sign on one of the Shopko outlots, which is on the corner of, I believe it's 12th and the Expressway. And that was just for a multi-tenant sign for the new users of the Shopko building.
And that's like a low,
Yes, it's a lower, I think 6-foot-high sign, so it's not going to be,
That'd be a new sign, though.
that would be a new sign,
The
correct?
one that you talked about in the first one there, that's on the existing sign.
Correct,
That's out there.
Correct.
Okay.
yes.
All right.
go ahead, Sherry.
Thank you. Oops, sorry, Tom. I just have one question. I know when I was watching that, and I know we have ordinances of the sign height, but I know the one at Assumption, when we were discussing that and that got approved, they're low. And I was just listening to that on, when it's on 12th and the Expressway, I mean, I know you've looked, and I'm sure, Joe, you have as well, to make sure it's not in a vision triangle type area. But I guess I just have a question is, why wouldn't taller be better when it's more, to me, it seems like it would be less of a vision hazard than when we're lowering the signs. Is that a state thing that or is that just the direction of the community or the council that we decide to do it that way? Because to me, it just seems, I don't know, backwards. It's like when they're lower, it's more of a hazard, but if you could expand on that. Thank you.
Yeah, typically the use will dictate the type of signage. Usually if you have a lower intense use, office type use, they usually go with monument type signs. They're more of maybe a destination appointment base type of operation. Whereas, with retail typically, or restaurant, you want to get higher and you want to try to capture people's visibility as soon as possible. I think in this case, the developer recognized that there are other signs, several signs that identify the tenants within Shopko, and this was more so to get them to turn on 12th rather than continue on the Expressway and then access the site in the middle or mid-block. So it was more of a significance to get them to, motorists to act than just to attract patrons to the site. From our point of view, there's some give and take. The code allows for a freestanding sign, a single pole-mounted sign to actually be in the vision triangle if it has proper clearance. I believe it's above 10 feet, and the pole can't exceed 12 feet in width, just like a telephone pole. Or, right, if they have kind of 2 poles and they want the signage within there and not lower than, or if they want it lower than 10 feet, then they have to move it outside of the vision triangle. And I think it's just dependent upon, developer needs.
Thank you.
Yep.
No. Different item. Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your ballots. That motion carried 7 ayes, 0 nays. We are on to item 9A, which is the Finance and Property Committee meeting held on February 7th. Mr. Zacher.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Finance and Property Committee meeting held February 7th, 2023. All members of the Finance and Property Committee were present. Item 1, call to order. Meeting called to order at 4:00 PM. Item 2, consider for approval a temporary retail Class B fermented malt beverages license and a temporary retail Class B wine license for Assumption Catholic Schools, Inc. for the premises located at 445 Chestnut Street for an Assumption Talent Show event Saturday, March 18th, 2023, from 5 PM to 9 PM. The above motion was moved by Bemke, seconded by Veneman, and the motion carried 3-0. Item 3, consider for approval an agreement with Spielbauer Fireworks Company, Inc., display operator Sky Painter Fireworks LLC for the city's 2023 4th of July fireworks display. It was moved by Veneman, seconded by Bemke to approve. Motion carried 3-0. Item number 4, audit of bills. It was moved by Bemke, seconded by Veneman to approve check numbers 15255 to 15625. Motion carried 3-0. Item 5, setting next meeting date. Next regular committee meeting set for Tuesday, March 7th, 2023 at 4 PM. Item 6, in open session, the committee may vote to go into closed session under section 19.851E of the Wisconsin statutes, which reads, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting of other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. A, in closed session, the committee may discuss a request from Buckley Baldwin VFW Post 2534 to consider the sale of a vacant city-owned parcel lot at an unaddressed parcel at the northeast corner of West Riverview Expressway and Fifth Avenue North, parcel ID 3400452. It was moved by Veneman, seconded by Zacher to go into closed session. Roll call vote was taken. All members voted in the affirmative. Motion carried 3-0. Committee went into closed session. In closed session, the committee discussed a request from Buckley Baldwin VFW Post 2534 to consider the sale of vacant city-owned parcel located at the unaddressed parcel at northeast corner of West Riverview Expressway and Fifth Avenue North, same parcel ID number. Item 7, committee will return to open session. It was moved by Zacher, seconded by Bemke to return to open session. Motion carried 3-0, and the committee returned to open session. Item 8, in open session, the committee may take action on a request from Buckley Baldwin VFW Post 2534. Same information as above. It was moved by Zacher, seconded by Veneman to approve an offer to sell parcel ID 3400452 to Buckley Baldwin VFW Post 2534 for a purchase price of $2,500 with the following contingencies and restrictions on the property for a period of 10 years from the date of the sale of the property. A, if the property is offered for sale and the VFW receives a bona fide offer, the city shall have the right to repurchase the property at $2,500. B, if the property is combined with the existing VFW property parcel 3400453 and the combined property is sold to a third party, the VFW shall pay the city $20,000 at the time of closing in consideration for the reduced initial price. Motion carried 3-0. Item 9, in open session, the committee may vote to go into closed session under section 19.851E of the Wisconsin statutes, which reads deliberating and negotiating the purchase of public properties, investing of public funds, or conducting of other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. And section 19.851G Wisconsin statutes, which reads conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. In closed session, the committee may discuss litigation strategy regarding tax assessment litigation the city is involved in, may consider retaining outside litigation counsel for the tax assessment litigation, and may consider retaining a consultant for valuation consulting regarding a scope of work plan for an appraisal for the tax assessment litigation. It was moved by Zacher, seconded by Veneman to go into closed session. Roll call vote was taken. All members voted in affirmative. Motion carried 3-1, and the committee went into closed session. Item 10, the committee may adjourn in closed session or may return to open session. It was moved by Zacher, seconded by Bemke to return to open session. Motion carried 3-0, and the committee returned to open session. Item 11, if the committee returns to open session, the committee may take action on retaining outside counsel for the tax assessment litigation and may take action on retaining a consultant for the valuation consultant regarding a scope of work plan for an appraisal for the tax assessment litigation. It was moved by Zacher, seconded by Bemke, to retain Amy Siebel from Siebel Law Offices LLC, an evaluation consultant for Phase 1 of the tax assessment objection litigation filed by NewPage, with pro rata contributions towards these costs being made by the other taxing jurisdictions. Motion carried 3-0. Item 12, adjournment, is moved by Bemke, seconded by Veneman to adjourn. Motion carried 3-0, and the meeting adjourned at 5:19 PM. Finance and Property Committee meeting, a meeting on February 14th, 2023. All members of the Finance and Property Committee were present. Also in attendance were Alderpersons Ray Ohm, Alderperson Polak, Jake Klingsforth, Joe Eichstadt, and Tim DeSorcy. Item 1, call to order. Chairperson Zacher called the meeting to order at 4:02 PM. Item 2, review 2023 Centralia Center roofing bid results and consider bid award. It was moved by Bemke, seconded by Veneman to reject all bids and rebid the project. See attachment 1. Motion carried 3-0. Item 3, adjourn. It was moved by Zacher, seconded by Bemke to adjourn. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 4:13 PM. With that, I respectfully submit the minutes.
Thank you. Let's maybe do a motion on each of the finance reports. So I guess the first one dated the 7th. What are your wishes? We have a motion by Bemke, seconded by Veneman. Any further discussion on the report? Mr. Rayom.
Thank you, Your Honor. On, report 1, I'd just like to hold out item 8, so I don't have to vote against the whole package.
Okay. Everyone good with item 8 being held out? Okay. Also, I was going to let you know if you, in the report or in the packet of that report, the sales agreement is in there. All right, regarding the balance of the report, we have a motion and a second. Please cast your ballots. That motion carried 7 ayes, 0 nays. Regarding item 8, what are your wishes? Oh, sorry. All right. What are your wishes on regarding item 8? Or did you want to say anything?
Well, I just held it out just to vote no on it. The price was the issue, and I think I'll live with what the decision is, but I just wanted to be able to vote no on that.
Okay. So we have a motion by Veneman. And we have a second by Bemke. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your ballots. That motion carried 6 ayes, 1 nay. And the representative from the VFW is in the audience, if anybody's wondering. We're on to item C, which is the, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, 9B. So what are your wishes are on item 9B, which is the second finance report? We have a motion by Veneman, seconded by Evanson. Any discussion? Seeing none, please cast your ballots. And that motion carried 7 ayes, 0 nays. Now we're on to item C, Works Committee meeting held February 6th. Mr. Austin.
Thank you, Mayor Blazer. The Public Works Committee met on Monday, February 6, 2023, in the council chambers at City Hall and via remote video conference. Myself, Sherry Evanson, Dennis Pollock, and Tom Rayom, Jay Bemke, Dean Veneman, and Mayor Blazer were in attendance. The meeting was called to order at 5:15 p.m. Item 2, review the Engineering and Street Department monthly activity report. The reports were reviewed. Item 3, review and consider a state municipal financial agreement for the reconstruction of A Street South from Whitrock Ave to East Riverview Expressway. General scoping of the proposed connecting highway project and proposed state municipal cost sharing were reviewed and discussed. Motion by Evanson, second by Pollock, to approve execution of state municipal financial agreement for the reconstruction of A Street South from Whitrock Ave to East Riverview Expressway. That motion carried 3-0. Item 4, review and consider modifying Chapter 35 post-construction stormwater management zoning specific to peak discharge performance standards and 35.07 Parent 3, Parent B, Parent 2. The proposed revisions of Chapter 35 of the city's ordinance were reviewed. Motion by Austin, second by Evanson, to approve proposed revisions to Chapter 35 of the city's ordinance. That motion carried 3-0. Item 5, review the Wisconsin Rapids Rail feasibility study. Because the rail feasibility study was not submitted to the city until prior to the Public Works Committee meeting, staff had no opportunity to review and present on the report. City staff proposed to discuss the report at the next Public Works Committee meeting in March to allow for a more in-depth discussion of the report. However, it has been proposed to hold a committee of the whole meeting to further discuss the rail feasibility study. No date or time has yet been set. The proposed meeting will fall after next month's Public Works Committee meeting and before next month's City Council meeting. Item 6, review the referral list. The referral list was reviewed and updated. Item 7, set the next meeting date. The next meeting date was set for Thursday, March 2nd, 2023 at 5 p.m. And item 8 was adjournment. Motion by Evanson, second by Pollock, to adjourn at 5:56 p.m. and that motion carried 3-0. And with that, I respectfully submit the report of the Public Works Committee.
Thank you. Was that a motion?
It is now.
All right. Sounds good. We have a motion by Austin, seconded by Zacher. Any further discussion? Mr. Reel.
Thank you, Your Honor. I didn't want you guys getting out of here too quick tonight, I guess, so. Just on number 3, just a comment that has to do with A Street reconstruction. I know it's just, it's a baby step, I guess, that we're taking here, but it's getting this thing put in motion to reconstruct that. It's a street that's well past its time now. The question I'd like Joe to answer, I think, is what's the time frame that we were looking at again, Joe? Was it 2028 or 2030? What was it? So
It's not fully known, but
Yeah,
it would
right.
be after the 2028 project, tentatively set for 2030. But there again, I think it's a soft timeline at this point.
Yep. And I think that's probably why I brought it up, because people see what the minutes are, and it looks like things are moving, and people might wonder when it's going to happen or something. That's something that finally, at least, maybe, we get more talking about it with the state and that, but it's still a long ways off. And that highway's 50 years old or whatever now, so we have to hope that it lasts long enough, but I think to keep putting an ear into the state's voice into the state's ear won't hurt, to see if we can somehow over the years move that project up for who's ever left on the council here. So thank you.
Well, and also just to further add that as long as I'm on the council, I will be advocating hard and loud calls to the governor's office. I know our representatives are working on our behalf. I've spoke with the county board chairman, who is advocating pretty hard down in Madison. So there are a lot of forces at work, and we'd like to see that done quite a bit sooner. And so hopefully we will see. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your ballot. That motion carried 7 ayes, 0 nays. We are on to item D, Human Resource Committee meeting held February 14th, Valentine's Day. Mr. Bemke.
Thank you, Mayor. Human Resource Committee met Tuesday, February 14th at 2 p.m. Members present were Chairperson Bemke, Alderperson Rayom. A list of others in attendance is on file. Meeting was called to order at 2:05 p.m. Item number 2, updated discussion on City Hall hours. There was a discussion took place and no action was taken. Item number 3, the committee may vote to go into closed session under section 19.851E Wisconsin Stats, which reads, deliberating and negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. In closed session, the committee may discuss negotiations and strategy regarding possible amendments to the provisions in the city's labor agreements with WRPPA and IAFF as a result of revised qualifications for new hires in each of those departments. There was a motion by Bemke, seconded by Rayom to go into closed session. Roll call vote was taken. Motion carried 2-0. All present members voted in the affirmative. In closed session, direction was given to pursue the bargaining impacts of a revised candidate qualifications with WRPPA and IAFF. Item number 4 was adjournment. Motion made by Rayom, seconded by Bemke to adjourn. Motion carried 2-0. Meeting adjourned in closed session at 3:03 p.m. And with that, I'll submit for approval. And that is a motion.
Thank you. Can you hit your, thank you. Ms. Evans, we have a second by Rayom. Ms. Evanson.
Thank you. I listened to the meeting, and I know that it's all kind of in limbo yet. You're taking suggestions and trying to work things out. Just a couple comments. I know it was mentioned that sometimes 4 to 18 visitors on a Friday afternoon, and I know it was stated that City Hall can be kind of like a ghost town on Friday afternoons. But in my opinion, I think it'd be goofy to have some departments that have to remain open, but the doors are locked at noon. If that, when they were talking, if the doors are locked at noon, but some departments have to stay open. I just think we're here for the public. In that I don't know why we couldn't do a flex schedule within departments where at least one person from each department is there. I just don't want to lose sight of that, we are here for the citizens of Wisconsin Rapids. And I know it's a nice thing for employees, but we have to remember that it's the citizens that we represent. And, if I come up on a Friday where I can go to the treasurer's office, but I can't come to the HR office, I think it gives mixed signals, but I look forward to hearing more about it. Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your ballots. That motion carried 7 ayes, 0 nays. We're on to item 10, reports of committees, commission, boards, and other department reports. What are your wishes? So we have a motion by Evanson to place the reports on file, correct?
Correct, thank you.
And seconded by Zacher. Any further discussion?
I just have one quick
Go ahead.
comment. For the McMillan Memorial Library, I know you guys have been very, 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 very busy trying to change a lot of different things there, and I think you guys are doing a good job. I'd like to hear more on the solar panel stuff, and I know, Mayor, are you involved in any of that? I know they're trying to get Water and Light in there to get more of an expert on what makes sense and what would be most advantageous to the citizens, but that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so there really hasn't been any discussions with Water and Light or the city. I don't want to speak for Mr. Austin, but you did bring a solar consultant in.
Correct.
And-
We brought in Northwind Solar. They took a look at the system They pretty much informed us that the manufacturer of that system is no longer in business, and you can't get replacement parts. It's very, very tough to find specific parts particular to that system that tend to go out at a fairly alarming rate. So I think the intention is to get the city over to McMillan and to also take a look. I know there was some interest by Waterworks in the system, so that work is still ongoing.
Thank you. Any further discussion? So we have a motion to place them on file. Please cast your ballots.
Says it already passed.
You don't want to record it?
It says it passed by majority vote
So I guess all in favor say aye.
already.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That motion carries. Any referrals to committees? Item 12, adjournment. Hold on a second. Just want to announce and make sure everybody's aware, there is a snow emergency declared for noon tomorrow, beginning noon tomorrow through Friday at noon. Highly recommend that you probably remove your cars from the streets, because if we get as much snow as we're going to get, the banks are going to be pretty high around your car. So please keep them off the road, and everybody have a safe time. And item 12, adjournment. So we have a motion by Rayom, seconded by Zacher to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? All right, everybody have a nice evening. Sharpen your shovels.